Hey everybody, Dr. Mike Ma here, telling you what you need to know, not necessarily what you want to know. Today we're going to be talking about the New Year's Day car bomber, his notes and manifesto that he left regarding this car bombing in the Tesla. Now let's start off with a quote. "This was not a terrorist attack, it was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to point that out across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives? Why did I personally do it? I needed to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I took." So here, he says that he needs to cleanse his mind of the brothers that he's lost. What this tells us is that he's had loss when he was in the military. He calls them his brothers. So he's lost people that he is emotionally close to and had an attachment with, and it is still on his mind. I have no idea when he was in the military and when this happened, but certainly there is a grief component here, perhaps a prolonged grief. And relieve myself of the burden of the lives I took. So here, when he was in the military and he took the lives of others in combat, he notes that as a burden. When you have patients with post-traumatic stress, when you have patients that have served in the military and other people in service of their country, oftentimes we can have what is known as a moral injury. They have engaged in a behavior that deeply conflicts with their own morals and their values. That can leave them with this sense of injustice in which they perpetrated. Okay, so as a psychiatrist, we always try to mentalize and occupy the point of view of the patient, the person who is telling their story. So let's break down his statement. This was not a terrorist attack, it was a wake-up call. A wake-up call seems like he is doing something in service for the people. He wants to wake them up from some sort of delusion that is clouding the reality. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence, so he feels like this violent spectacle is a way to bring to our attention that our reality is being clouded and we need to be woken up. So let's occupy his point of view. He's feeling grief. He's feeling like the taking of lives of others in the battlefield has been a burden that he has been living with. He feels like America, not him, is to blame. This man wants the American people to wake up and question the motives behind America's actions with regard to sending its troops to war. This brings a great point for the audience to keep in mind. If you know anybody that feels like they have been forced to engage in a behavior that is totally incongruent with their values and they're living with the burden of taking somebody else's life in combat and war, puts the responsibility of that on America and the American government, and they feel like the only way to cleanse themselves of this burden is to engage in an act of suicide that puts innocent civilians at risk, please reach out for professional help. There are better ways through this, and there is absolutely hope that we can reconcile this burden and this injury to our morals and values in a way that preserves the life of the individual and prevents and precludes him from engaging in some sort of act that puts others at risk as well. There is absolutely hope of you reprocessing this trauma, moving forward with your life, living a value-based life, overcoming grief, forgiving yourself for the actions that you've taken, and living a life in service of yourself, other people, your morals, your ethics, your values, and feeling good about yourself and living a life that you want to live. Please seek professional help for yourself or others. If you're wondering how to do that, leave comments down below. I'm happy to leave a list of resources. Seek help now. No distress is worth taking your own life and putting the lives of innocent people at risk. Dr. Mike Ma telling you what you need to hear, not necessarily what you want to hear. Thank you.